Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Diary of Atomic Love. And today we're going to talk about the heartfelt journey of letting go in love from Colossians 3:13. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. Now, in the Bible, when we hear about letting go, it means to release our burdens, be forgiving, and to trust God to guide us in our life. But let's be honest, that is very hard. And many times in your life, I wonder how many times you have held on to something that was hard. That relationship, that burden, that betrayal, and the distrust and dishonor that comes with it. Now, I want to say this to you. I've had to learn how to do it many times in my life. But more importantly, I want to tell you that this is not about being weak, because this loving act of faith is truly wisdom. By choosing to release what is not yours to carry, the anger, the guilt, the anxiety, the control, you are giving it to God. And that is what He has agreed to carry for you. And trusting Him to do that is a pure act of faith and love. God gives us courage to face everything that comes to us and against us in pure and unconditional love. Now, at one time in my life, I'll be honest, I didn't believe that statement. But here I am preaching it to you right now. And that is because I was saved by a miraculous gift given to me. I chose to accept the gift of my calling, and I chose to forgive every single person who hurt me. I forgave them, and I moved ahead in love, thanks to Christ, which is pure love and peace and mercy at its finest. Now, I want to tell you something else. I have faced a lot of tragedy in my life. Two very, very hard ones for sure. I am confident that they will not be my last, but truthfully, I will never handle them as I did before, because I have been gifted wisdom and knowledge in Christ. And now when I see tragedy and trauma, I see it as a lesson. I feel it, I move on from it, and I learn from it. And I realize for some that is easier said and harder done. Now, many of you have heard my story of sexual assault and how it was hidden. I lived with that for many, many years while I saw it swept under the rug to avoid family conflict. And I never understood why deliberately someone would choose not to help me and act as if it hadn't happened. And it led to distance in my adult relationships. And it left me struggling for years with how to cultivate my own self-empowerment and self-love. And mostly it caused me to be burdened by unforgiveness, which was extremely heavy. But I found something that I learned in my journey, and I want to share it with you today because it brought me back to love. And it wasn't brought through reconciliation necessarily, because I have learned that boundaries mean love for myself and forgiveness, but not necessarily access for others. And I'm writing this from the standpoint of a woman. So if you are a man listening today, you can switch it as needed. It could be true for either gender. Now, I was influenced more by one female in my life than by anyone else. That was my mother. And I've learned in my journey that this person, your mother's energy, is with you when you're born. And their influence on your life, though present, remains somewhat hidden in your own reflection. Now, I don't mean in your mirrored reflection, like when you look at yourself in the mirror, but in your actions and how you reflect them onto others. And it is no accident in the universe that happens. It is deliberate by design to help you learn how to evolve. And it's meant to prepare you for human life. And however horrible it might sound, that someone who is to love you might give you trauma. Now, something happens when you feel betrayed by a person, anyone, but especially your mother. When you face trauma, emotional hardship, or your own maternal challenges in being a parent, there is a higher purpose in your life that is tied to this. So let me explain it. It is this experience that pushes you forward and causes you as a child to discover your own inner strength, recognize your flaws and patterns, and find your way to divine love and away from those that hurt you. You see, the traumatizing moments in your life act as a catalyst for you to awaken because they require self-reliance and clarity. And in that way, your mother lays her foundation on the ground for your evolution because it requires you to find your boundaries, your understanding of love, and your strength. And because of their lack of some of that, you see them differently at times. And you can see what happens when your mother is especially causing a wound. And if it's unresolved in your childhood, you carry it into adulthood and it resurfaces again and again as you form adult relationships in your life. And every challenge you face with anyone, the person you've fallen in love with, your battles with your so-called friends, and every wound created in your life after childhood threatens you into creating forgiveness and acceptance of her. And even if that trauma was hard, if you had a hard childhood, but mostly it causes you to find forgiveness. Because unless you do, you cannot find spiritual wholeness. And forgiveness is part of the journey to being whole in Christ. Now, when I realized this, I did finally forgive my mother and everyone else while I was at it. And I recognized that in some cases, your mother may never say she's sorry, but forgiveness isn't for them. It is for you. And because of her, in my case, I had the courage to set boundaries that caused me so much pain and discomfort growing up, over many years. Now, I understand not that she is the reason that I was successful at forgiveness, but despite the ability to inflict wounds, it cleared my path for a deeper connection that I found and the spiritual alignment and emotional control I found in additional wounds caused by everyone in my life. And in truth, it was emotional manipulation that brought me to emotional mastery. Not all inflicted by my mother, no. As I said at the beginning, many wounds throughout my life. You see, we have a specific journey set for us in our life, and we've been discussing that for some time now. And at the beginning of my journey, so nearly 11 months ago now, I was very angry and bitter. Mostly at a specific man in my life that used me, and I had every reason to be too. If you were to go back and see my messages from June when I first began recording them, you can watch my transformation in true time, from hateful, bitter, and angry to who you see now. To this person before you, filled with nothing but unconditional love. This is the work of Christ in my life. Now, I have concluded in all these months that ultimately, what I was taught by my mother is what I carried into my first marriage and my second, what I carried into friendships, what I carried into romantic relationships, why I became vulnerable, and what I carried in front of my own children. And without realizing that there is a secret role that women play in their children's lives, I didn't understand that I am to be a force and that we get to choose how we're seen by our children. And if we're bitter and angry, well, that is what they see. And if we are joyful, that is also what they see. But they, like us, carry our energy within. And what they are within is because of us, and even sometimes despite us. Because we belong to the same soul group. We are to operate in harmony and elevate the next soul. That is part of our creation. But what occurs is evil from the outside world. Learned ugliness and learned hatred. And something that most people don't understand or know how to flee from. It's learned diversity. It's learned gross and dark consciousness. And many times we don't even realize that we have given it away to those around us, especially our children. You see, ultimately, we are called as humans to love. And as mothers especially, we have a pivotal role in helping our children find evolution, which allows for profound healing. But we can't do it properly without inflicting some pain. And as crazy as it sounds, and I am not suggesting that you do that at all on purpose, I am saying it's in our human nature that we do it. But it is also in human nature that we choose to love instead of allowing the inflicted pain to override our awareness of self. The boundaries are needed, and a perfect childhood would not allow us to create the needed boundaries for a human fulfilled life or a spiritually fulfilling journey. You see, this awareness has brought me to another place in my life as well. It has brought me to choose to accept my mother as she is, as well as others along the way. And I've been brought to understand that she was, in fact, a co-creator in my soul's awakening, in the evolution that I found in healing that I chose. She couldn't choose that for me, but she created the environment that led me to understand that I am intertwined in the universe and to learn the lessons inherited from her, to stop inflicting pain myself, accidentally onto my own children. And it is these lessons that allow me now to be a better parent and grandmother. You see, my energy is healed energy. And that is what my children now see. It is the unseen and transformative power of Christ that revealed to me who I am and who she is. It is the subconscious effort that is so deeply rooted in my soul that it goes unnoticed until the damage is already done. And that is true of your parental journey. It's done purposely. It's played out in human life, and it creates hard lessons to create the journey toward a more powerful, conscious choice of Christ and creating a need to lean into understanding. It is really the only way we would survive in this world full of horrid lessons. Because the earth is not a very pleasant place to be. And releasing what hurts you, well, my friends, that takes some skills. You can't move forward in life unless you can move forward in hope. And to do that, you have to know that God is guiding your path, and you must believe in faith that He will sustain you in every challenge that you face. And it would be impossible to do without facing diversity and betrayal first. Imagine being released by your parents into the world being so naive, more naive than you already were. Imagine what could happen to you. Now, I can tell you, you'd hold on to shame and guilt and hatefulness, and you would not know how to find wisdom. You'd never learn how to let go of weakness or how to become strengthened by the lessons and teachings in the Bible or from God. And when you find the motivation to transform, you are replacing all you have learned in diversity with compassion and love. And you couldn't do that without something to compare it to. See, you could never do it by holding resentment toward those who have harmed you. You'd be nothing but vengeance. And honestly, if you look around right now, it's vengeance and evil that is everywhere. And it requires a conscious decision to forgive, but not forget or condone these offenses against you. It is the hardest thing that I've ever done. Deliberately choosing to let go of painful association to your offender is the only way to become resilient and conquer your fear of rejection and choose connection instead. This is what powers you, what empowers your life from a painful experience to an inspired journey of love. Because it is God's creation of all of this that we find true unconditional love in Christ. It is in pure love that the grip of pain and trauma is lost. You see, you can't control the person that hurt you, but you can control your ability to be free of it. Because holding it just makes you pay for it dearly, more dearly than you already have. And by forgiving, you find peace and hope. Getting the person who hurt you to change is not the lesson that you are here on earth to learn. It's not the point of forgiveness. It is focusing on your own well-being that you change your life and allow for the peace, happiness, and spiritual healing that you deserve. You see, forgiveness takes away the offender's power to continue to hurt you. It gives you the ability to walk away in peace. So today, I'm saying this about human love. Honestly, look at who you are and what you have done in your life. Admit what you've done wrong. Choose to apologize. Think of how your actions have affected others. And don't judge. Just forgive. We are all sinners. None of us is different than another. None of us is loved more or less by God. We just learn our lessons differently. Just forgive for you. Be sorrowful and regret what you did in hateful sorrow. And don't make excuses for it. You can't force anyone to forgive you, but you can forgive others. Because this is about your love for you and for God, not about them. And this is your journey. It's between you and God. So choose to let go of what doesn't serve you, so you can complete your journey of peace, harmony, mercy, and love as Christ has given you. Don't sell out, my friends. Your mind and heart are not for sale like everyone else. To forgive means to choose healing over hatred and reclaim the freedom that you deserve from the pain, and to choose love. And my friends, aren't you worth that and more? In a world where you could be anything, choose to be love. Love is the answer. If this resonated with you, please like and share my post. And thank you for your donations to my divine mission and for helping me to keep my messages alive. I'll see you tomorrow.